All right, our speaker for today is someone I consider to be a pioneer woman, living out there, out in the wild. And she comes in every now and then to tell us about how things are going out there. And I think she's got some tales today. It's Reverend Joyce Zorger.
This is, this adds to my week. This really does. I mean, the day I had yesterday, my gosh. Can you hear me? People on Zoom, good morning to you too. Oh, my goodness, what a day I had yesterday, trying to keep it together and my talk and all of that. And my day started out yesterday morning. I fed my horses and my kitty cat, barn kitty, going back and taking my dogs out for their walk. And I wanted to turn the water on to fill the water troughs, and there was no water. And right away, I thought, oh my goodness, that is the water turned off at the house too? So I went up to the house and turned the water on, and it was working at the house. And I have two wells, and apparently the guy that was working on the irrigation system yesterday, he turned off the water to the barn. And so I had to call him, and he lives across the way, and he came over within the half an hour and got the water turned on. So that was part of my day, and that was okay. I got that taken care of. I feel so good when I'm able to manage things. It's like the satisfaction of knowing that I can still do these things and remember how to do them, even though I'll learn how to do it at one point, but then trying to remember what I did when I did it. So that's my biggest challenge these days. So my two dogs, I used to call them puppies. They're 8-year-old dogs now, and they're hunting dogs. And when they get out together, I've told you many times, they take off. Well, Luis, the man that was helping me, was in my backyard, and he went out the gate and forgot to close it correctly, and the dogs pushed on it, and they took off. And this was early in the morning. It was like about, I guess it must have been at 10:30 or 11, and they didn't get home until 8:30 last night. And so any of you that have pets, you know how that feels. And there was this beautiful, in Daily Word, I just love the reading for this particular day. It was on Saturday, October 4th, last Saturday, and it was a pet blessing. And I just love this pet blessing. How many of you in here have a pet? Raise your hand if you do. Look around the room. We're pet savvy. We have pets. Pets rule our lives. And I am grateful for the sacred gift of pets. Did you read that in the Daily Word on the 4th? It says, "Today I bless pets and all animals as sacred expressions of the divine. I may care for animals or simply appreciate the beauty and diversity they bring to the earth. I hold a vision of animals, health, and safety." And so that's what I was doing yesterday. And I had a couple of friends that I contacted, and they know my situation with my dogs and how they often will figure out how to get out. And my yard right now, it again looks like trailer trash because all the things I have put in the way to keep them in the yard, beside the hardware cloth and the big lids and the pieces of wood and the rocks and all of that. But, I'm always trying to outsmart them. If they're smarter than me, they are. They're smarter than me. And I feel that way anyway. But they finally came back, and I was so grateful, because I'm sitting there watching the football game, and I see their beds and they're empty, and it was making me so sad. And I was thinking, Toby, Lucy, come back. And so I kept in my prayer and kept going out and calling them as loud, and my voice is kind of hoarse today from yelling and calling to them. And at 8:30, I was thinking, I got to go to bed soon because I got to get up early tomorrow morning. And here I opened the door to the front door, and there is Lucy, only the one, the female, their brother and sister. And she's looking all around, because I ask her, where's Toby? Where's your brother? And she's just looking all around for Toby. And finally, he comes staggering in, because she's got the strength and the endurance, not him. Because he's on antibiotics and medication for pain on his left front foot for the last time they got out. He hurt his leg. And it was just getting better. He was doing so much better. And there he comes limping in again. And so I had their food already, and I fed them and gave them their dinner, and tried to get the smell of the wild off of them. They really smell like they've been out somewhere. I tried to get all the ticks off of them as well. And anyway, they came in the house, and I fed them. They were so tired. And I'm grateful for the fact that they're tired today, because I don't have to worry, because there are times when I've come home from church and they're gone. And so I am knowing that they're going to be there today. So anyway, I love your music that you did today, Mark, and especially for strength, because I feel like strength is the one thing so I call this talk Strength and Grace and Gratitude, because I have had so many experiences in the last 3 years, 4 years. Well, it's life. It just puts these things, just say, okay, how strong are you? Are you strong enough to get through this? And so I think resilience is one of my favorite words. And so I'll go to my talk that I was going to do today, and it's on, of course, I love how the word strength, how you pulled that from the information that Brian sent you, Mark, and that actually always helps me, because I always tout the fact that this information that gives us information about the theme for each month is so good to read, because it's you probably find out more about this than you would about my talk. Maybe, I don't know, but anyway, you know about some of the things that go on in my life. And I just was notified 2 days ago that my daughter from Colorado and her husband are coming out tomorrow. And they're bringing their little dog. So I wonder how it's going to be. I'm glad I'm not speaking next Sunday, because my mind will be scrambled having a lot of company coming. And people like coming out to Feather Ranch, and I love having them there. Excuse me. It doesn't quite match. It's not turquoise, but anyway, I pulled something out. And I love this. It was by Pablo Picasso, and he said, "I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it." I'll read that again, because this is my life. I'm always doing that which I cannot do in order that I may learn how to do it. And that, to me, those are the challenges in life that we move through every day. And for me, the biggest challenge is I can learn how to do it, and then the next time I have to do it, I don't remember how I did it. And so, and this is frustrating to me. So being a religious scientist and being a believer in new thought, and knowing that I have the strength to move through, and the resilience to move through anything that I'm having to face. This is really helps me so much, and I invite you to do the same. Charles and Myrtle, I wrote this down, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, in their system of 12 powers, describe strength as the ability to stand firm in our convictions, to maintain our integrity, but I love this sentence, and to embody resilience in the face of life's challenges. Mark, you probably received something like this from Brian, so that helped you with putting your song together, but you did such a nice job. So to embody resilience in the face of life's challenges, I think that those words stood out for me. Resilience, to me, resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And I know that Ruth is recovering from her situation with her hand. Look at her hand as she's moving her hand. She had and I love the fact that one day she said that come back. When she was the chaplain of the Sunday, invited people to come back and give her a hand sandwich, not a ham sandwich, but a hand sandwich. And I took that upon myself to go back, because I love the idea of a hand sandwich, and prayed for her hand and the recovery, and I know that you've all kept her in your prayers too, and especially her daughter Jill, who is also a chaplain. That how lucky you are to have that. So anyway, I am having to deal with a health issue myself, believe it or not, but I have had an issue with my knee since last October, so it's been a year now. And I mentioned to you, not to me, but I was in an exercise class and using those straps, and putting around one and going like this, and I felt something pull in my knee. And I finally got my orthopedic doctor to give me an MRI, and he said there's a tear in the meniscus. So I'm hoping that, through my consciousness and my knowing what to do and what not to do, it's healing. It's doing much better. I'm walking better. It's hard to walk sometimes on my property, and I'm always watching for gopher holes and squirrel holes. And I didn't tell you that now I've got the wild pigs back, and they have just totally annihilated the property. But my lawn that I had finally replaced with artificial turf, they don't touch that. and it was only because for 3 different years I was piecing back this lawn, because it was all rototilled, and my normal grass, which I love the normal grass. And I was down on my hands and knees putting it all back together. And after the 3rd time, I decided I have to do something different. So I got the AstroTurf. And now I have the AstroTurf in my backyard too, because I had major flooding. And anyway, it's my life, and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, I have to say that I was finding myself losing my joy after all this for a whole year of hobbling around and not being able to do the things I love to do on my ranch, and just trying to kneel down and crawl around on the ground and do my weed pulling and the yard work. It was a challenge. And I'm still able to get up off the ground. I pride myself for that, and you too. That's good. You're only 70. I mean, you're just a kid. Okay, but I'm happy to be still here. My daughter and her husband are coming, and they said, my daughter says, Mom, she says, anything that you want Tim to do for you, make a list. And my list is already that long. He may not want to come if he knows, but they are coming, and they're bringing their little dogs. So this would be interesting to have the 3 dogs around on the property. Oh my gosh, this will be another excitement. I won't be here next Sunday because they'll be here, and I don't know what they have planned. But anyway, I was talking about joy. I found myself beginning to experience a lack of joy. And that joy is something that we all have within us, and we need to have that, just the thoughts in our mind to bring that joy out. And it was becoming harder and harder for me to allow my light to show. Physical pain does that to us. We have to be careful that we don't let it get us down, because it kind of changes I have to speak for myself. I've been able to move through physical pain many, many times. I was thrown from a horse, and I thought I broke my back, and that was after just being on my property. 1997, we bought Feather Ranch. In May of '98, I was thrown from the horse. A little filly that we bought at Cal Poly, the equine program there. She was only 2 years old, supposedly supposed to be well trained. I got her saddled and ready to ride. I was waiting for my husband to come get his horse ready, and she started bucking. It just started bucking, but I stayed on for 8 seconds. I did, and I was proud about that, but I come off and I saw the sky and hit the ground, and it was a paramedic call. So I am still here, and this is resilience. You just got to move through these challenges, no matter what happens. You got to move through them, and I know you know that. And many of you could stand up here and tell even scarier stories than I've been telling you. But my faith, that's where grace comes in. That everything that happens to me, there's always that element of grace that helps me move through it. And then the gratitude. I feel so grateful for still being here and still being able to do the things I do and being able to come up here and speak with you. I feel such joy My joy is coming back, and I feel such joy when I come here to speak to you, and I feel like you're all my family. I really do, and I won't. Yeah, I'm gonna drink some water. Whoops, gotta open this thing. I'm only on the first page. I had 4 pages here to go through. Okay. So what I wrote here is the appearance of physical pain seems to travel. It soon became emotional pain. That's what happens. It becomes emotional pain, and I became more frustrated and weighted down by my lack of exercise, because I've always done yoga since 1985. I've done yoga every morning, Monday through Friday, and I wasn't able to do the things that I used to do because of the pain in my knee. By the way, it is getting better. I'm wearing a little special kind of a patella brace, I guess it is, and it helps me. But anyway, I was in Costco, and I wore this, and I was glad I did, because I had to wait in line for a half an hour to get a prescription for my dog Toby. Get to the cash register. She said, we don't have, the vet didn't call back to authorize this prescription. So now I've got to go and pick up this, and he's getting what's called Apoquel, which is for allergy. And now he's been out, and God knows where, when he was out running around yesterday, so that Apoquel, he's limping even worse now on his leg. Remember I said he hurt his leg, and he's hurt it again. Okay, so that's another thing to wear. I'm looking at something that Wayne Dyer said, and I think, Amanda, you used this when you spoke a couple of weeks ago. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I've always loved that by Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change. And I love the word change, because I've said to a couple of people in the last few weeks that change, you drop the C and you drop the E and you hang in there, because that's the middle H-A-N-G in the center of change, and that's what I remind myself to do. So Eckhart Tolle writes, the pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. And I skipped a page. Let's go back to page 2, because I wanted to say something that I read in A Pace of Grace, and it's energy is like water in a cup. When it is drained, it must be refilled. The practice of overdoing has put millions of people at risk of being drained so often and so much that they end up becoming ill with fatigue and stress. And the author wrote from her own experience. And I've noticed that there's a proliferation of energy drinks in the store. I mean, people drink it like water these days to give them energy. And I don't know what that's doing to the body. It keeps pushing it further and further. But I've never tried an energy drink. But maybe I should. No, I don't want to encourage it. No, don't want to do that. My energy is taking time to sit now. I'm learning to sit. When I'm feeling really stressed out, I'm trying to force myself to sit and stay and pray and know that everything will be okay. And that's been my mantra and my motto. Sit, stay, pray. And I got that from my dogs, because I train my dogs to sit and stay, and then it's okay. But I put in pray, because I'm not sure if they know how to pray. I'd like to teach them that so that they'd behave better. But anyway, noticing, let's see. So it was kind of scary. I was thinking that Eckhart Tolle, I started reading about him. He said the pain that you create, I'll read this again now, is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. And he goes on to write, watch out for any sign of unhappiness in yourself. And I was feeling unhappy because I was feeling like, here I am on this 45-acre property, and I'm not able to remember how to do certain things, how to turn on the generator, how to get things connected, and it was frustrating me. And I was thinking, I got to take more notes. I think that'll help me to write things down. So just like I'm doing the notes for my son-in-law, when he comes, he's going to turn around and go back home when he sees those notes. So the pain that you create, okay, watch out for any sign of unhappiness in yourself in whatever form. It may be the awakening pain body. If any of you have read Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the pain body. This can take take the form of irritation, impatience, or a somber mood, and so on. It feeds on that. Pain cannot feed on joy. It finds it quite indigestible. So, and he explained that the pain body is being a dark shadow cast by the ego. It actually is afraid of the light of your consciousness. And this is something that fascinated me. It is afraid of being found out. Its survival depends on your unconscious identification with it, as well as your unconscious fear of facing the pain that lives in you. So I've been more conscious of facing the deal, what's going on with me and what I have to do. So I have an appointment with a different doctor, and I think I'll let you know how that goes. It's hyaluronic acid. It's some shots that he'll be giving me in my knee, I think, and it's to help with the pain in the knee. So I'll let you know how that goes. So this is what I know. I know that light overcomes darkness. A pace of grace means achieving a lifestyle of integration and balance, the virtues of a sustainable life, and the need for grace time to reflect on the meaning of what is happening in our lives. And so for me, that grace time, it's that soul work that we do. It's knowing what we need to do to connect with that power that is within us, to know that that power is there, and we have to open to it. And that's the light that we have within us. Always we have that light within us. We open to that light, and that makes us strong. That makes us resilient, and that gives us the grace and gratitude, the grace that God is leading the way. And if we allow and listen to that voice within, that still small voice within, when we do our meditation, when we do our spiritual work, this is what keeps me going. My meditation, my spiritual work, my quiet time. I'm trying to allow more quiet time, and that is also good for my knee, not to be running around so much. So I'm getting better, and I know that. I feel good today, and especially being around you, I get energized around you folks. I want you to know that. You are my family. You are my... So I guess living alone, as I do, I appreciate so much when I get around people, because I am very much a people person. Aries personality, and I have a lot of energy, which I'm blessed for. But I just feel that it's so important to let people know that you see them and know that they're important. And when I go shopping, I love to go shopping because no matter where I am, I always find something to say to someone to try to make their life a little better. And I know that some of you are shaking your head because it makes my life better when I know that I have touched somebody and maybe it brought some light into their life. Yeah, and just talking to Alec on the way in, and he was so proud of his glasses, and I was really interested in his new glasses, and he was just going on and on about that. So acknowledge people; they need to be acknowledged, and to pull out of any lonely spot that they might be in. So I wrote down here: a pace of grace means achieving a lifestyle of integration and balance, the virtues of a sustainable life, and the need for grace time. And I think I read that again, but the grace time to me is that quiet time that I allow myself to have. And gratitude, there's a beautiful reading that I read, and I'd like to share this with you. It's about our thoughts, and it's I'll read this to you. A famous writer was in his study. He picked up his pen and began writing. Last year, my gallbladder was removed. I was stuck in bed due to this surgery for a long time. The same year, I reached the age of 60 and had to give up my favorite job. I had spent 30 years of my life with this publishing company. The same year, I experienced the death of my father. In the same year, my son failed in his medical exam because he had a car accident. He had to stay in the hospital with a cast on his leg for several days. And the destruction of the car was a second loss. His concluding statement was, "Alas, it was such a bad year." But when the writer's wife entered the room, she found her husband looking dejected, sad, and lost in his thoughts. She carefully and surreptitiously read what he had written and silently left the room and came back shortly with another piece of paper in which she had written her summary of the year's events and placed it beside her husband's paper. When her husband saw that she had written something in response, he read her take on the year's events. Last year, I finally got rid of my gallbladder, which had given me many years of pain. I turned 60 with sound health and retired from my job. Now I can utilize my time to write better and with more focus and peace. The same year, my father, at age 95, without depending on anyone and without any critical conditions, met his Creator. The same year, God blessed my son with life. My car was destroyed, but my son was alive and without permanent disability. At the end, she wrote, "This year was an immense blessing and it passed well." The same instance, but with different viewpoints. And that's the power of our thinking, power of our mind. And moral of the story is, in daily lives, we must see that it's not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. And this is so important. It's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy. So I do follow the guide of, before I go to bed at night, I name 3 things that I'm grateful for that day. And the highlight was the fact that my dogs came back, and I didn't have to lie awake all night wondering where they were. And I was so grateful that they came back, and also grateful that people were praying for them. And then I'm grateful for my text messaging to friends and saying, they're back, they're hungry and tired, and they're sleeping now, so I let them know. So when people take the time to pray for you, let them know that their prayer has been successful, that you felt their love and their intent to be with you during those crises times. So there's always something to which to be thankful for. And attitude is the one thing over which we have control in every circumstance. I did a talk once on attitude of gratitude, attitude of gratitude, and that's what it is. I try to live by that attitude of gratitude. And live so that your memories will be part of your happiness. Live so that your memories will be part of your happiness. And I have so many wonderful memories of 64 years of marriage to my husband, John. And I just allow that to fill my heart, rather not with sadness that he's no longer with me, but with gratitude, the fact that we had such a good life together. Difficult times, but still, he was an engineer and he had his own way of thinking, but I moved through that with strength and resilience, and we loved each other to the very end. And I think I told you that one time when I said, "Come on, John, it's time to get up and face the world," and he looked at me and he said to Joyce, he says, "Joyce, you are my world." And that, I remember that, and that's a memory I'll keep till the day I am no longer on this earthly plane. So in closing, I feel like I'm like you, Mark. I'm going on and on, but anyway, because you love your music and whenever you play, it's like we need a cane to pull you off. But you're going to need a cane to pull me off because I have a few more things to say. Okay, so I have this to say. There's a book that I have. It's called Seasons of the Spirit, and I have so many different books that I will grab to read that give me that strength to help me through the different challenges. Seasons of the Spirit is one that I just love, and the latest one that I have is by Mary Davis called Everyday Spirit, a Daybook of Wisdom, Joy, and Peace. It's one of my favorite books right now. And she wrote for the Science of Mind. She was in the Daily Guide for last month's Science of Mind. And she's really a metaphysical person and New Thought and beautiful soul, and I really enjoy her reading. Another favorite book is Attitude of Gratitude. A metaphysical teacher by the name of Daniel Peralta. She said that when we are suffering from some difficulty whose blessing is invisible, we say the following prayer: "I am willing to see the gift in this experience. May the lessons be revealed to me, and may I become stronger and clearer." I really like those words, really. And right now I'm dealing with a forgiveness issue with one of my granddaughters. I have 4 granddaughters, and one of them she's having she's 35, and I just found out some things recently that I don't understand, and I'm trying to move through this time and trying to understand it better. And it helps me. Because I was really, I don't want to say heartbroken. I just had my heart checked last week and my heart's fine. But I'm just disturbed and still trying to process what she's been thinking. But anyway, I have a book called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, and that is also a powerful book. I read that every day. And this is what he had to say, and this helped me to deal with the situation with my granddaughter. What it really comes down to is this: the clearness of heart to stop defining who I am by those who have hurt me, and to take the risk to love myself, to validate my own existence, pain and all, from the center out. And I choose to do that. And I will not allow someone else's thinking to cause pain. If it causes pain in my life, I move through it, get over it. Life is too short to dwell on it and have it create illness within your own life. So I choose to do this, and this my last words here is, and I know God. This is what I say to myself: God is, I am, and all is well. And so those are my closing words today. And I thank you for your listening. God is, I am, and all is well. And that is my message this morning. So take it home and love yourself. Okay? God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, Mark. All right.